Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome back to the Macro Lounge podcast. I am your co-host Chris, and this is the lovely Rachel.
Who is very low on brain function right now, because we are in prep.
Which is a very good segue into today's subject material, which is preparing for your first bodybuilding show. And what is prep? All right, so prep, it's not just dieting harder, it's a whole process. Good question that we get asked a lot is, how long does prep take? So we'll ask Rachel, and then we'll go back to really how long does it take? So how long does prep take, Rachel?
3 weeks, short max,
3 weeks max, okay. Now, were you entering a bodybuilding show or a cat presentation show? I just need to clarify that.
Both.
Oh, cool. Yeah, excellent. We'll be expecting lots of cat videos. So typically you're going to be looking somewhere around 20 weeks, particularly for a first timer.
Depending on where you're at.
Yes,
so
that's the whole
people
thing.
who are leaner need less time. People who have a little bit more body fat on them, you're probably going to need a little bit more time for prep. I've seen people do, there's a couple of people this year even, I think, who have done I can't do math right now, way longer preps.
Yeah. There's some people will prep for 6-8 months. I get asked all the time, how long is prep? And how long is a piece of string? It really depends on where you're starting from. So if you maintained a really tight level of leanness throughout your growth and off season, then obviously your prep's going to be shorter. If you have, perhaps it's your first time, or you had a bit of a let's say a wobbly off season, it could take longer. So that's the key, is plan prep from how long you need as opposed to when the show is. So if you're picking a show that's in, we've got shows starting from next week, probably picking IFBB New Zealand Wellington show, which is around 21st of September, probably starting prep now is probably leaving a little bit late.
Just a little bit.
But just a smidge. Not saying that people don't do it. So yeah, it comes down to where you're at, what level of leanness you're at. Like Rach, for example, your prep this year is not terribly long.
What was it? When did we start? Again, my math is not happening right now, so Chris, you're going to have to give us numbers on this one.
Well, you're 3 weeks in. Usually the brain fog doesn't start kicking in until about the last 3 weeks, but Rach is special.
I've done more cardio already than I did all of last year, to be fair.
This is true. I am very impressed. I'm very touched when I see these Instagram stories. I'm like, hang on, she's doing cardio?
I know, I'm actually doing it.
I know. And I put it in the program and she's following it, which is awesome.
So yeah, I'm fairly sure that you put it up that higher because you thought I wouldn't do it or I would do less.
I was going with the reverse psychology process. Yes, I would.
Yeah, we'll see. Anyway, back to timeline. There is I guess an idea that most preps should be 12 weeks. I think a lot of that also comes from a few years ago, back in 2020, around that kind of time, when Bikini wasn't quite as conditioned and it wasn't as muscular. It just wasn't as extreme, I guess, as it is now. So now people a lot of the time will need longer than the 12 weeks. It was back when Bikini was a little bit, I guess, almost more lifestyle-ish, the look overall. So yeah, 12 weeks is not the deadline. 20 weeks is not the deadline. It's just however long you actually need. Ideally, a shorter prep is better, but things happen.
Yeah, I mean, normally starting prep, I would say to somebody people have a show they want to do, right? Like they say, I'm in Wellington, so I want to do the Wellington show, or I'm in the South Island, so I want to do Christchurch. So normally I would sort of say, okay, if that's a show we want to do, we sort of have to look at where you're at and sort of say, okay, logically speaking, how much body fat can you lose over that period? How much do you need to lose? And it becomes a reality check with your coach. Like if you are sitting at 25-30% body fat, which is not unheard of, you're probably not going to do a 12-week prep. So it's a case of be realistic and what you can achieve. Don't try and, hurt yourself, metabolically speaking, health-wise, or anything like that, just to make a show. But plan accordingly and allow anywhere from 12 to 20 weeks, and then have fun with that.
Extra time is always better too. If you can be ready early, great. Then it's much more relaxing.
It is. It's much more relaxing from a coach's perspective as well. I can tell you that for nothing. So in prep, it's different, obviously, than your growth season, right? So you've done a few. So how have your expectations of prep, like what you expect in prep, is it the same now as when you did your first show? Do you have the same, or have you sort of, as you've gone through each one, is it gaining a little bit more knowledge, or is it just being more aware of what's coming?
Definitely been able to relax a lot more because I know my body now and I know how my body is going to react. So my first prep, I always say the first prep usually should be the hardest, ignoring any outside circumstances like say illness or something. Generally your first prep should be the hardest because that's probably when you've got the most body fat to lose. And also it's when you know the least about your body. So now I know, like I've said to you, Chris, my body usually gets stuck at 60 kgs for about a month. No matter how much I
Right.
diet, I've got about 4 weeks of 60 kgs. It just does not drop below that. But then once I get below that, usually I'm very consistent dropping down. So, but then above that, also same thing. I can drop very quickly. From 62 to 60, I think was 2 weeks. But then
Yep.
going below that, it's stuck every single time. And that's what, 5 seasons? So
I
now
thought
I know
it was
not to
just the
panic.
fear of the program that I gave you. I put cardio in it, your body went, oh, no! And it dropped like 1.8 kilos overnight. It's like, yeah.
Yeah, I think that was probably it too. Definitely, I think the way to do it is you just get scared of your next program, and then you drop weight. You don't need to actually diet. That's it. I'm joking.
That's one way to do it. Yeah, I probably wouldn't advise it. So obviously, one of the things you've got to be aware of is like your nutrition's going to change, but it shouldn't be changing too much. Like, I mean, Rachel's program is not that much different than what it was during her growth season, other than a little bit more me saying, please eat.
It's very different. For most people, it would look like, I mean, generally it's going to be similar foods, like throughout off season, most likely. You've been eating chicken, rice, mince, or steak, rice, vegetables. But then you also get the odd free meal, or maybe you get like an extra snack or something that is just for you during that time. It's just something that you
Yeah.
like to have. Usually that kind of comes away in prep, so you just have a little bit less flexibility, but overall the food should be similar. It shouldn't be a whole new ball game. It should be pretty very like just minor changes. So I always say like the first, I guess, 4 weeks, like if you're doing like a 20-week prep, generally those first 4 weeks are going to be kind of adjusting. So you're removing maybe your free meal. I actually never officially got told I wasn't allowed free meals.
You wouldn't have listened anyway, so what was the point?
I haven't. I actually haven't. I've been good. I have.
You quite, one of the things you said there is really on the money is like, prep doesn't mean a diet. It's not like suddenly I'm going on a diet like a lot of people would traditionally look at it. It's, as you said, the first 4 weeks is probably bringing you back from being in an excess to finding that baseline, like what is your baseline maintenance level now, cleaning up a little bit of the fuzzy edges, so to speak, but more about just, I think that first 4 weeks to me is like it's a mental reset. Like, okay,
Definitely mental preparation.
shit's about to get real type stuff.
Yeah, you're just slowly
And
kind of
that's,
bringing things in, tightening things up. It
yeah,
doesn't have to be like an instant switch of, oh my God, everything's changed. It should be
yeah,
just like, okay, we're going to start taking away some of these free meals. We're going to slowly just clean up a few things. But it's not like a sudden, okay, yeah, you're dropping to 1,500 calories from 2,500.
yeah, which is not fun at all. Like, I personally don't think that once you go into prep season, the whole, if it fits your macros, that doesn't work. I mean, Rach could agree or disagree with me, but I think you need to be structured when you go into
I
prep.
agree.
And if you can't be structured going, already coming into prep, you're sure as hell not going to be structured once you start.
I definitely think with that, the more flexibility you give yourself, the easier it is to go push beyond that limit. So the first prep, especially, I think, follow everything to a T. I did actually used to do that. I used to measure out all my vegetables, but now I know what I can get away with. So I've slowly pushed the boundaries. But first prep, definitely don't do that. First prep, see how your body responds, do everything to a T so you know exactly what's happening. The less variables there are, the easier it is for everyone to see what's going on.
See, the funny thing is, you just assume that I'm not aware of this.
Oh no, I
So
assume
that
you are aware of it, and that you just know that it's happening.
Yeah. So I write the programs for what I believe you will adjust to suit, knowing that your adjustments will come in line with what I actually want. So it's a whole reverse psychology thing. And so far, I think it's working out wonderfully.
It is. It is. I reverse psychology you, and you reverse psychology me. It just kind of works.
So basically, we're both psychologists.
Two negatives
we
make
need
a positive.
professional help. Yeah, that's what I'm going with. I'm going with that.
So this is why, yeah, be honest with your coach. Like I'm always honest with Chris. If he's like, you're not following this, are you? I'm like, nope.
Yeah, it's like, okay. Do I even need to ask? No. Okay, cool. All right. So what are we going to do about that?
Do what I say, not what I do, guys.
Yeah, yeah. Well, to be fair, you generally, once you start getting into the swing of prep, and this happens not just with Rachel, but with people in general, there's a little bit of like,
Wiggle room.
yeah, it's kind of like having a toddler in the terrible twos. The first 4 weeks is kind of like, you're just setting your boundaries and going, no, I don't want to do this. And then after we get past those first 4 weeks, It's like teenage years, then you start sort of like, oh, if I have to. By the time you get to the thick end of it, it's like, you're just like, yes, sir. And it's like, okay, I know this, so it's cool.
I do find that the first couple of weeks of cutting, I get what I call the carb hunger. It's a different type of hunger. So when my carbs are dropped, I don't know, it's a different type of hungry. It's not just like I need food, my stomach's growling. It's like I almost feel like sick and nauseous. I don't know. I call it the carb hunger because it only happens when I'm low on carbs, and then as soon as I eat, I'm fine. But I don't know if anyone else gets this.
I would suspect that has something to do with blood glycogen levels, but hey, wait, we'll just go with it.
I got those tested yesterday. They're fine.
Okay, good. I do like that when athletes get those things tested. Actually, you had a barrage of tests. That was very, very healthy. So,
but yes, no. Where were we going with that?
I have no idea. We were basically talking about nutrition and like.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Be stricter, or like so you can have like you're mentally preparing in your first 4 weeks. You're just kind of like slowly taking things out. If you want one piece of chocolate, one little square, it's not going to kill you at that far out.
And if it is, then you're probably not ready anyway. So. I mean, that sort of segues into sort of the next section we're going to talk about, which is how do you know you're ready for prep? Because it's not arbitrary. It's not just like, I am going to do this show, therefore I am starting prep X number of weeks out. You have to be ready for it, and you have to be physically ready. You have to be emotionally ready. You have to be financially ready. Prep is not the savior. If you're not ready for it, then you're not. But so how do you, when you did your first show, Rich, how did you know that, okay, I am ready to contemplate prep for a bodybuilding show?
I didn't.
Oh dear.
I mean, back then it was like, it wasn't very well, like, there wasn't a lot out there on bodybuilding. Like, we didn't have all these podcasts. It wasn't all on social media. I was a PT back then, so I just was like, that looks cool. They get to wear pretty sparkly things, and it'll be good for my PT business because I'll look like a boss. And then I saw
that's a decent sign. So basically, you went from the sparkle principle. If there's enough sparkles, I'm ready. Yep. Okay.
Yep.
Good.
I mean, if you're too soft on stage, sparkles will hide it, right?
It's a lot of sparkles.
Just blind everyone with your sparkles.
Blinded by sparkles. Sounds good. Okay. But there are signs that you're ready, people. Like, if the reality is, if you can't follow a plan already, and like I generally say to people, if you can't follow a plan for 30 days pre-prep, you are not ready to go into prep. And I would much rather tell a client you are not ready than have them start and then fail. I'd also much rather say, look, you are not ready, and then have them get pissed with me and leave, because I don't want to set them up to fail. I want them to succeed. So I think that's the first thing from a habits perspective. Like, if you can follow a basic plan, not necessarily religiously, but at least enough to go, I'll give myself a solid B+. I think nutritionally wise, you're ready. Obviously, physically wise, you have to have the right level of muscle for the class that you're entering. Like, there would be no point starting a prep if you basically got a physique for bikini saying, I'm going to prep for a figure class. So you need to make sure you've got that right level of muscle for the class that you want to do.
Although I would say, disclaimer on this one, if you just really want to see if you like competing, you can still just get on stage and just see if you like it first, and then take 5 years.
That is an approach. Yes. I mean, that's also why they do have the first timers class.
Yes.
I think first timers class, if you're doing first timers class, I think to me that's like really just put my toes in just to see, is the water warm? Do I like this? I think if you're competitive and you're going in there saying, look, I'm going to do first timers, I'm going to do novice, I'm going to do open. I don't think you should don't put yourself into the first timers. Just go into the novice or the open. Not everybody's medal hunting, right? So first timers should, as I said, if you just want to find out, like maybe get lean enough to, you're in the best shape of your life, that's cool. But, as you said, don't necessarily go in there expecting to take the overall title.
Very, very rare. Very rare.
Yeah, no. You also, to be ready, you've got to make sure that, you've got a good solid training history behind you. I also think you need to make sure you've got a real good support system behind you, like, good partners, family, friends who not necessarily, they're not all going to support what you're doing and encourage it. Some people are going to go, what are you doing that for?
But they should at least accept it.
Yeah. And you don't want a partner or a family that's going to essentially every time you bring it up, they're almost trying to sabotage you.
The worst. Oh my God. Okay. Anyone who's ever competed will understand this pain. And it's the annoyance of every single time someone's having food and they're like, come on, one bite won't kill you. Just have one bite.
Yes,
the fury.
It can be. Yeah, and you need to have those people that understand that sometimes you've got to be prepared. You've got to understand that when you're in this part of the cycle of the season, that social events may be missed, or people will look at you sideways when
Have your Tupperware.
you show up at a wedding with a little Tupperware container and go, "Oh, look, I brought my own food." Or as you have a big event that happens to be on the tail end of prep and your brain's not functioning quite well. My best man, I can say I have had more than one wedding. We won't talk about that in any depth, ladies and gentlemen, because
I thought you were going with I can say I had friends. I thought that's where you're going with that.
No, the best man at my first wedding, which we don't talk about, in his best man speech, he was 1 week away from going for the world champs. He called me Steve twice, and neither of us knew a guy called Steve. Who the hell's Steve? I can remember my dad going. I was like, so these things happen. So you got to be ready for it. You got to understand what you're walking into. But obviously, signs you're ready is one thing. Like, you got the muscles, you've got the habits, you're mentally resilient, you're disciplined, got a support system in place. You understand what it's going to cost financially.
Well, psychologically, like, not with your relationship with your body as well as food is in a good place as well. That's something that's really important. I think that would probably almost be one of the most important things, because bodybuilding is not going to fix that. It will only make it worse. So that is definitely something to think about. If you are self-conscious about your body already, bodybuilding, well, I'll say, like, the building phase is fine, yes, but prep will only make it worse. So
especially as you get towards that tail end where you're starting to compare. We talked about this in last week's episode about, imposter syndrome. It's like, not comparing yourself to everybody that's on social media. Oh, that person looks so great, and they're only 2 weeks out, same as me, and I look like a seal on crack. Not that I know what a seal on crack looks like, but I imagine it's hilarious.
Alrighty then, moving on.
So the next thing, obviously, signs that you are ready. Now, there are signs that you're not ready, and you would argue that they're almost the exact opposite of signs that you're ready. But, I think a primary, one of the big things about whether you're not ready is, aside from what Rach just said about the struggling with your relationship, body image or food. If you're doing it purely for validation, I think that's a big thing, that you're just not ready to do it.
It should be like a competition against yourself. It should be a challenge of, can I do this? How well can I do? If you're doing it as I just want people to cheer for me and for people to give me medals, it's going to be a bit.
Yeah. And also, as we said, if you don't have the muscle base for it, prep is not going to add muscle. You're not going to suddenly turn into an Amazonian goddess during prep. I mean, prep is just showing off what you've already got. It's just polishing it and bringing it into the light.
Actually, something that I think isn't talked about enough is that if you don't have the muscle, it's actually harder to cut. Your muscle's like a battery. It drains energy, basically. It's constantly using energy. The more muscle you have, the more calories you burn. So if you don't have any muscle, your food and cardio ratio is going to be absolutely nuts. You're going to have to be very, very low on food to get lean enough, and very high on cardio, and you're probably just going to look like a skeleton. That's the other reason for the base of muscle. It's not even just because, obviously, it's bodybuilding. If you don't have enough muscle, you're not going to be able to cut well, because your body is just it doesn't need as many calories.
I mean, the more muscle you have, I don't want to say easier, but the more, there's to a certain extent, the simpler it is. But it also, I think, particularly with some of the female classes, I think wellness is a classic example. A lot of women really struggle for their lower body to come into condition. And we've seen more athletes entering into the wellness class because they say, well, I've got big legs. Not wishing to offend anybody or anything, but quite frequently, a lot of the girls, they're not actually wellness. Their legs just take longer to come into condition. So you actually have to have more upper body muscle, because knowing you're going to sacrifice some of that in the time frame it takes your legs to come in line. Just because you've got a shredded upper body and bigger legs doesn't mean wellness is your class. It's horribly to say. It just means you're not ready. So again, we've talked about before, finding the right class. Rachel's going, oh crap, she's going to get me in trouble.
Oh no, I just got a funny thing. I say this, and again, this isn't to offend anyone. This is just kind of like how I think of bodybuilding, but it's quite funny.
Oh, here we go.
Controversially, in bodybuilding, you're kind of fatter than you think you are.
Hey, that's the sort of stuff I normally say that gets me in trouble, Rachel.
I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, I know it's negative connotations around the world, but generally, I'm not going to lie. You don't realize until you've done your first prep how much body fat you actually have, because, I mean, some of it, you have essential body fat that you need to stay alive, and you are not supposed to get that lean. Like most people's bodies are not like no one's bodies are really designed to be super lean and shredded all the time. It's just not survival. But so yeah, generally most people will have more body fat than they think they do for their first prep. After that, you kind of are like, okay, yeah, now I actually know where I'm at.
Well, it's also, there's a real big difference between
Lifestyle
bodybuilding
lean.
lean and lifestyle lean. You know, I've made a few faux pas on live streams and bodybuilding shows before where I've been heard saying, "Yeah, she's fat." And I don't mean she's fat. I mean, I'm not wanting to fat shame anybody, but there's stage condition and there's lifestyle condition. And then there's not condition. So, yeah, you got to be ready for that. And that comes down to prep it has a mental and emotional side to it, right? So you got to have the discipline and to understand that social flexibility kind of goes out the window. Or particularly in Rachel's case, you running a business, which, well, what's the word I'm looking for? It revolves around
Bodybuilding.
prep, bodybuilding. And you're doing that whilst in the middle of prep.
I was going to say, I have a solution
Here we go.
for the social life thing. Just don't have a social life. Problem solved.
Yeah. That is one way. Yes.
You just find all your besties at the gym.
Yeah, well, to be fair, anybody that's in the world of bodybuilding and the prep, pretty much if you're not seeing them at the gym, probably not going to see them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, it kind of, honestly, it does kind of work like that during prep. Like, you just kind of stop talking to a lot of people who don't understand bodybuilding or fitness.
See you at Christmas. It's like, yep, okay, so summer is, you won't see me. Don't invite me to the barbecue. I won't be there.
You don't have to worry about, like, having a social life if you just don't have one. Have cats.
Speaking of which, I hear we will have to have a guest appearance, but I hear we have a new addition to the family coming. I believe it will be arriving imminently.
Yes, he's coming.
A little bit excited for this.
I'm very excited. I went and bought him a bed yesterday.
Oh, God. For those watching on YouTube, you would have just seen the fact that her whole face is completely lit up when we started talking about this. Sparkly things, not so much. Herbals.
Come on. I've been trying to get a cat for like 5 years now.
To be fair, it's not just a cat, Rich.
It's a cat.
Tiger. It's a tiger in training.
He is going to be in his own jungle, and he's going to beat up all the other cats.
Yeah, well, I can see that. He's already jacked, and he's only like 8 weeks old. But I think this is going to be good for you because I think this physical contact thing of this lovely little Sanji, I believe his name is, apparently a ladies' man.
Yes.
But I think it's going to help with the emotional roller coaster of prep that's coming your way. So I'm supporting this decision.
Cats are known for stress relief, and they help with anxiety. That's actually scientifically proven. They help to decrease anxiety.
Have you met our cat?
Yours is different.
Yeah, that's true.
She decreases anxiety for her one person.
Yeah, that's true. She's been very quiet so far. This is good. She must be asleep. All right.
Anyway, back on topic.
Back on track. This is why people listen, because they go, where are these two going to go today? They're like, we have no idea. That's all right. Neither do we.
We keep you guessing. Yep.
So right now,
anyway.
The producer's going, got to kill these two. All right. So what to expect during prep? Prep is, if you haven't done it before, and as Rich alluded to earlier, it's changed. Like when she did her first prep through to now. So, she's got the knowledge of what to come. But a couple of things that you kind of need to know, and you should know this going into it. Prep is not fun. And
especially the last 4 weeks.
Yeah. I mean, it shouldn't be torture initially, that's for sure. But it's not fun. It's hard work. It takes drive. It takes dedication. It takes focus. You will be hungry. There is nothing you can do about that, and your energy levels will drop. Exhibit A.
Brain fog. No, the brain fog, oh my God, it's so funny though. Like, you just you do things and you're like, what the fuck? Like, I put pepper in the microwave at one point, like just a salt and pepper shaker, and I would put it in the microwave, and I don't know why. Yeah.
It's just those little flashing things. Forward to the next 25 years of Ed's life.
So basically, everything you think of like someone being blonde, you become that regardless of your hair color.
Ladies and gentlemen, complaints department directed towards Rachel Mead.
I am blonde, so it's all good.
Technically, it's all good. So yes, brain fog, mood changes. It does happen, and it happens to males and females. So any guys out there who are like, I told you, you're like, no, guys turn into whining little. And
this is why Chris coaches mostly girls.
Yeah. To be fair, much more emotionally stable during prep.
Because we're so emotional all the time. We are better at dealing with it.
I'm so glad that came out of you, not me, because I would be getting in so much trouble.
I'm sorry.
But as Rachel said, one of the other things is cardio. Your cardio will increase, your energy output will increase, because as a rule of thumb, your food will come down and your energy expenditure will go up.
It does make you hangry.
Yep.
You'll get hangry.
But I tend to like people to expend as much energy via resistance training rather than just cardio, because one, cardio is boring as. Although Rachel's getting a little cat treadmill as well, so Sanji can do.
I'm thinking that's a good idea. He can just do cardio next to me.
Yeah, I think it's a really good idea. Unfortunately, he has much shorter legs than you, so he's going to need a little treadmill.
Or I put a bed on top of the treadmill, and he sleeps there, and I just pat him while I do cardio and watch him sleep. Because, come on, you can watch cats sleep for hours.
I have seen evidence of the kitty cam. Yes, this is entirely possible. But yeah, it does start to drag, and cardio is not fun, but it will increase. Because you can only drop food so far before your body starts to actually have health issues, and that is something you can expect during prep. It's not uncommon. Well, sorry, not uncommon. It's not unusual for females to lose their menstrual cycle as they're going through prep. I mean, ideally, we don't want that to happen, but especially when you get super lean, it's kind of an unfortunate or known side effect. The trick is how quickly you bounce back out of it. And there's other metabolic things that can happen right through from digestive issues, constipation, all that fun stuff, which don't be mistaken that prep is healthy, because it's not.
No. But it is only a short time. Like you're not supposed to stay lean for a long time, and that's something I always tell my doctors, because they always complain that I'm underweight. And I'm like, no, it's okay. We're just doing it for this long, and then we come out of it. We want the weight to go back up.
Yep. And as I said, it's only for a finite period of time, so it is kind of a case of put your big girl pants on and just.
Which is something to mentally prepare for as well, because a lot of people, they get to that lean stage and they're like, okay, cool, let's just hold this. And it's like, no, you're not supposed to. You're supposed to come back up. Yeah. Maybe not all the way up to where you were before, but you do need to put on weight again after your prep. You are not supposed to stay stage lean. It is not.
None of us are supposed to be that stage lean. And don't fall for any social media influencer that's got these great photos that's showing basically they're lean all year round. Pretty much they get all the photos done in one hit, and then change outfits 400 times, and then they've got all this different content. It's just not, for most people. Sorry, it's not physically possible to stay that lean that long. And even those people that are extra lean and extra shredded and just like your classic ectomorph that just don't hold body fat, that's still not stage lean. That's different.
So everyone thinks that like bodybuilders should like have kind of like abs all year round, but especially for females, like it's actually so rare to be able to do that. Like females with abs, it is a lot of work, and it's very hard to get there. And if you're bodybuilding, you probably shouldn't be there all year round because you want to build. You cannot build if you aren't putting on any weight. I mean, there's obviously, what is it called? What's the word?
Refeeding? No. Reverse dieting?
Recomposition?
Okay, we'll go with it.
So you're recomping, but again, like you can't really do that while you're stage lean. Your body kind of needs a little bit of body fat. But anyway, so once we've got past our to our, let's say, 12 weeks out stage, starting to lock in.
Should be starting to lock in at that sort of, I say, 8-week stage. I mean, ideally you want to be ready, not the day before the show. You want to be ready as long out as you can, just so you can play around. But it's about that 8-week stage where you start to lock in. By the time you get to the 4-week out stage, you should be laser beam focused.
Or dying.
Weirdly enough, or don't die. If that's the problem, maybe don't do the show.
Coach's perspective, you're locked in, you're serious, you're like, yeah. Athlete's perspective, you're extremely tired, extremely grumpy. You've probably thought about quitting 5 times today already.
And probably told your coach 4 of them times.
Yeah. So generally, I'm going to say, honestly, like at the 4-week out mark, or like even 6 weeks out, like things are getting very tough mentally because you're so close yet so far. Like it's not close enough that it's real yet. It's far away enough that you're like, I still have to do this for like another 6 weeks. So that's the hardest part, because you're starting to get pretty low on the calories, pretty high on the cardio, and you're still got quite a way to go. So at that point, I would say it's the worst mentally, because it's rough at that point. You've got not a lot of brain function going on, not a lot of food. No. So mentally that's the hardest part. But then usually people get their suits around 3 weeks out, and then suddenly they're fine.
Well, you get sparkles and everything's better. We know this. This is a scientific fact.
It's honestly my favorite thing. People receive their suits and they're like, oh yeah, I'm good now.
Maybe you should see them at the 3-week mark, because it's like 3 weeks when that's generally when people throw in the towel. They go, I just can't do it. You're like, you've only got 3 weeks to go.
Yeah, that's why it's around 3 weeks, usually. 3 weeks.
Yeah, that is when things start to get...
I would say my least favorite week is 2 weeks out. That's my least favorite. Because at that point, you've got hope. Dark.
It's definitely dark at that point, and that is where you're questioning why you're doing it. You're looking at everybody on social media and saying, they are so much more ahead of me. All I can say is just silence the haters in your mind. Don't look at these people, because invariably that's the best picture they could take on the day. That's the best lighting, possibly got a filter or something on it. And at the end of the day, it doesn't matter, because judges aren't paying attention to your social media. They're not following you. They don't give a flying. It's, still who's going to show up. But yeah, it's usually around about that 4-week mark where people sort of start making some mistakes. If the 4-week mark is about the time where you think, I should start practicing how to pose.
This is why I say do it early, because then when you have no brain function like me, you don't have to worry about figuring out how to pose and making sure you're doing it properly and listening to your posing coach. You already know.
Yeah, it should be second nature by that stage. And if anything, all you're doing is refining. You're just polishing. But
ideally have it sorted by about 8 weeks out, because once you get to 8 weeks out, that's when the brain function plummets. Have your posing sorted early.
Another common mistake people make is, again, you get to about that 4-week mark, and then how many people have you had just in the last week, Rach, that have said, I need to order a bikini?
Not too many. I have had 3 orders this week, though, actually.
It's a little bit late, especially if you want a custom one. If you want just off the rack, okay, that's one thing. But if you want something that's fitted and styled for you, do yourself a favor, and particularly do your bikini manufacturer, aka Rachel here, a favor, because, she's got enough stress in her day, doesn't need that.
I mean, the thing is that some of the companies overseas, they will say they can do like a 4-week turnaround. Some of them will even say they can do a 2-week or 1-week turnaround. It is mass produced at that point. There is no way you have someone hand doing everything unless they have a lot of people. But because it's just me, and I physically can't make that many in that time period. Please order early. Please.
Start thinking about 2026, ladies and gentlemen.
After the season's finished, please.
Yeah, but please don't send that inquiry in until after, like, first weekend.
Generally, a smaller company, minimum 12 weeks. So anyone like in New Zealand, minimum 12 weeks. Most Australian companies, I'd say, still minimum 12 weeks. If you're 6 weeks out and you're still trying to find a bikini, I've had someone who's actually been 3 weeks out and tried to get a custom bikini, and I'm like,
there's only so many hours in a day, and you don't put that stress on yourself, and don't put that stress on Rachel for making the bikini. It's just, plan ahead. But also, another common mistake sort of around this stage is the 4 weeks out mark. Probably about when you should start actually thinking post-show, like getting yourself ready. Sometimes it helps to have that, there's light at the end of the tunnel. There is a light. Planning for that. So how is your post-season going to look? Is there another show after this? Is this a regional to qualify for nationals, or for another pro qualifier that's further down the road? What's the next phase? Is about that 4-week mark is probably when you should start thinking about that.
Definitely do not save food videos. It is probably the worst thing you can do. And do not hoard food. I've seen so many girls do it. They hoard all these lollies and chocolates. They've got drawers full of it. Don't do it. It's just easier to not have it there. You have, usually after your post-show meal, you feel pretty good, and then the next day just kind of eat your whatever cleanish foods. Like, what my personal favorite for a morning after show is eggs on toast. I don't know why, but prep always makes me crave eggs every time. So it doesn't have to be perfectly clean, but if you just hoard donuts, chocolates, it's you kind of almost feel bad for not finishing it, because you don't want to waste food at the same time. So it's just buy as needed. Don't go out and buy all the stuff. Yes, you might want it now, but will you want it later? Probably not. You probably don't want that many things.
Yeah, no, and it's in that last 4 weeks when probably you're not making the most sense. Probably not the best time to make a life altering decision as well, like moving countries, or buying a house, or starting a new business. These are not all aimed at Rachel, by the way. It's you're probably at that stage where somebody could just about ask you to do anything, and you probably go, sure. Sounds like a good idea.
Because you don't got a lot of brain function there. But it's worked for me because I don't have brain function on a good day. So
that's not true. You're very smart and intelligent, and very, you do.
And I'll say that with a straight face.
I'm just turning off my camera now so no one can see. But the last 4 weeks is when you need to make sure that all your ducks are in a row. And we've talked about that before, a couple other things, but things like making sure you've got your hair and makeup appointments booked, making sure you've got tanning sorted, following up with the bikini manufacturer, when do I expect it? Things like, if you're traveling, did I book accommodation? Stuff like that.
For the hair and makeup, definitely book early, because the makeup girls, similar to me, they get booked up they only have so much time before a show. If you're doing a show like the IFBB where you have to be at your check-in at like, what is it, 10 usually, they only have a few hours. People don't want to be getting their makeup done at 2 a.m. and they probably don't want to be awake at 2 a.m. So there's only so many girls they can fit in. So they do fill up very quickly because there's also only so many makeup artists that do bodybuilding specific makeup in each area. It's very niche. So make sure you get that booked. I would say even 12 weeks out. I've seen the makeup artist book out at like, around 12 weeks out before. So get that booked early. I'd say 12 weeks out while you still have brain function. Make sure you're at least researching and looking for where do I need to get this stuff from.
If we've got a big show on where we've got multiple people and I tend to plan it a lot further out in advance. Like we've already got, we've had makeup artists booked for NZIPB Wellington now for probably 3 months. NZIPB Nationals we've had booked for a year. It's just, if you find somebody you like, book them early and sort of say, hey, look, I'm going to be in this window. Can you hold me a day? And then sort of say, and then when the calendar is released, you can go back to that person and say, right, we know the dates, this. And then invariably they'll work with you.
I'm trying to find my favorite makeup artist so I can give her a shout out.
Okay, you do that. So you got get your,
Kate Fallon. Kate Fallon.
Yes.
She is amazing, usually based in Waikato. She does travel if she has enough girls. So I think she's actually coming to Auckland for the Auckland Champs.
Cool.
So yeah, she is my absolute favorite all-time makeup artist. Whenever I can get her, I do. Highly recommend.
Yep. And if you find one that you like, as I said, stick with them because they, they appreciate the advance notice so they know what's going on. All right. So last 4 weeks, you're starting to get into, we won't cover peak week today. That in itself is a whole different.
We can skim.
Yeah. Peak week can be fun. It's in skimming. There is nobody's peak week is the same, as I can just attest to, because we've got multiple girls all competing next week. They all require different peak week strategies. They're all different sizes. They all have different metabolisms. So it's not possible. But peak week is, it's when you're at your lowest. You're pretty much running on fumes. And that's where that support network really comes into it. Not just your immediate partner and family, but as Rich says, your teammates, your friends that are around you. You kind of all got to lean on each other.
I will say it's really funny though, because people have this misconception of peak week of thinking as soon as peak week hits, which is the Saturday before the show, so 7 days out, that now you get a whole bunch of food and no cardio and you just rest for the entire week. And then you just get so heartbroken when you realize that that's a lie. And sometimes you only get carved up the day before the show.
Yep.
It's heartbreaking. Yep. So I'm sorry, guys, mentally prepare for that because not everyone gets the full week. Most people don't get, actually, I don't think anyone gets a full week. Usually it's 3 days max?
If the show's on Saturday, I'd probably say, well, you're tapering off, that's for sure. But I would usually sort of say anything from Thursday on, if it's a Saturday or Sunday show. And then it might just be like some light 30-minute cardio just to stop yourself from going insane. Because you're used to being physically active and quite often getting you girls to actually just sit still. As in, Rachel's done very well this whole episode. She has not spun around once. I am just like...
Because I'm not on the spinny chair. Well, I got banned from it.
Wonder who banned. But yeah, it's you're on minimum food. And peak week is not the miracle week. If you're not ready, there is nothing. There's no miracle drug. There's no miracle cardio. There's no finding your Zen place. It's the only thing that's going to change is you will either be fuller or flatter, but you're not suddenly going to grow some glutes. You're not suddenly going to be 5 kilos lighter in body fat because that just doesn't work that way, ladies and gentlemen. You are what you are. You're just going to be a slightly shinier version of what you did.
Yes. Yeah, no, generally, I think it's becoming more accepted now that peak week, you don't do all the fancy things. Like, there used to be a whole bunch of stuff of, like, you've got to have X amount of salt and X amount of water and what, I don't even know what else. There was, tons of, minuscule...
Water loading, dehydration. I mean, we're talking bikini and
yes, I mean, there is that to an extent, but it's not as much as I think it used to be. It used to be yes, this is an exact science and you must follow this to a T and we're going to make it extreme.
It used to be like we're going to deplete sodium for 2 weeks and oh my God, you can't have anything with artificial flavors or sweeteners for, 2 weeks out from prep and from peak week. And if you do this, you're not taking it seriously. And then, yes, we're going to cut the sodium and we're going to suddenly start upping this supplement and that supplement. And then I'm so glad that there's actually been more research done now because a whole bunch of stuff that even 5 years ago, that used to be like, this is how it has to be done, has now been shown to be absolute bollocks. There are still coaches out there that do it. You know, they have a water loading and water cutting thing for bikini. I don't water load bikini at all, do I, Rich? It's like, yeah, so just
I have done
keep
it
on
once, but
doing.
not with Chris, and I
Yeah,
hated it. I
yeah,
hated it so much.
just keep doing what you're doing. I don't cut sodium because it's like, why would I change? I mean, basically nothing. There's no miracles. Suddenly changing the foods that you eat and suddenly changing the water you drink and having to drink hydrogen water and all this sort of shit that's out there now. It's not going to suddenly turn you into Miss Olympia. I'm sorry. It's just not going to happen.
You'll get like subtle changes, but yeah, it's not going to fully change. And yeah, your peak week should not be super, super extreme. It should mostly be kind of relaxing-ish. Yeah. But yeah, don't expect food on the Saturday. I learned that the hard way.
Yeah. I mean, peak week, it won't save a bad prep. It'll just reveal what you've already done. If you're not ready, you're not ready. That's life. But again, you've done all the work. There's nothing more you can do. You can't freak out about it because it is what it is. So the decision you have is, are you in the best shape you've ever been in? Great. Get on stage. Reveal what you've done.
One thing that we might have to backtrack, sorry. Mm-hmm. Refeeds and free meals during not during peak week, just during prep.
If they're needed, sometimes, frequently, I'm only speaking from personal experience and with the girls that I work with. Quite often, it's if the progress stalls, sometimes it's not about increasing the cardio and decreasing the food, because the body will just go, stuff you, mate. I'm out. I'm done. Quite frequently, you do need to just take your foot off the pedal. And that's why sometimes having a longer prep is good, because it might only be 2 days. It might be a week. But sometimes you just have to bring yourself back to maintenance, cut down the amount of energy expenditure, bring the food back up a little bit so your body goes, she still loves me. And then I personally, whole refeed thing and cheat meals during prep, I'm like, that's more for if you mentally need it. Sometimes you just need that reward. Like, I hit 62 kilos. God damn it, I deserve a burger fuel.
Fair.
Okay, fine. If you hit that goal, the reality of it is it's probably not going to make a huge amount of difference for a couple of days. But it is not uncommon for progress to stall. But that doesn't mean panic. That doesn't mean, coach said I only need to do 30 minutes or 60 minutes of cardio. I'm going to up it to 2 hours because I'm not losing weight. It's sometimes back off, eat some food that makes you feel a little bit good. Don't eat the entire packet of Krispy Kremes or whatever. I think the key thing when that does happen, or if you're worried about it, and your coach will see it, because we'll look at your check-ins and go, 5 days, same weight, but be open about it. Just to say, hey, I'm really struggling. And it's like, okay, well, let's just back off for a little bit. Let's just bring up the carbs. It's, not, as I said, it's not go out and have a Sal's pizza. It might be just, let's just have a little bit more rice, kumara, pumpkin, whatever it is that you're on. But don't panic, It's just listen to your body. And sometimes you need to do that. Peak week, not the time to have that happen.
No, definitely not.
Pretty much like, no. Down the middle.
I will say, though, like, if you're going to fall off the wagon, it's like, it happens. So if you know that you're going to fall off, do it smart. Don't go out and eat like an entire pizza or whatever. Have soul food. You can fall off the wagon and be smart about it. So it's like, yeah, I fucked up, but it isn't going to make as much of an impact. So let's say you fall off the wagon and you have, I don't know, you go out and have steak, or you have like, I don't know, what else is there? Even a burger actually isn't usually too bad, but if you didn't get the chips. So it's like, you can still be smart about it. I mean, I know
what's the point having a burger if you don't have chips? I mean, come on.
That's true.
Maybe just have the Coke Zero instead.
Yes. Yeah, like, there's ways to be smart about it. If you are going to fall off the wagon, you don't need to buy all the sweets or something. Like, savory food's usually going to be better in general. Yeah. So if you're going to fall off the wagon, be smart about it.
And people do fall off the wagon. But it doesn't mean you've ruined your prep. It just means, oh, shit. It might mean you're going to hold a little bit extra weight for a couple of days because your sodium levels went up. It's like, okay, so what? Yeah, it's not the end of the world. Just rock with it and you'll be fine. And just to sort of wrap up really, the thing is, prep, it's temporary. Real life is a lot longer. So don't stress. If it's your first prep, don't rush it. Just go with it.
And if you have enough brain function to stress, don't worry. Just wait a few more weeks, because eventually you won't have enough brain function to even worry about it anymore.
That's one way to look at it. Eventually this will not matter because you won't even know what the hell you're doing. You'll just be one foot in front of the other and just hoping like hell you get to the end of the show. Yeah. All right. I guess,
anyway,
like, we would love to hear your stories on prep and horror stories and stuff. We've had some interesting comments come through on Instagram for the last week, so keep those coming. But I think the thing to remember is, the stage is only one day, Prep takes months, and the lessons that you learn from it will last you a lifetime, as Rachel's alluded to. Not the first prep was the hardest. Just remember that you're going to learn those lessons as you go along, and you will get to that point where you are dreaming about food. You're dreaming about whatever that favorite meal is at the end of the day. I generally give you a checklist and says, okay, write down what that is. Because quite frequently, once you've written it down, you don't really focus on it. So,
fair enough.
Any final tips on what to do in prep there, Rach?
Don't focus too much on the food. Trust your coach. They know what they're doing. Be honest. Admit it if you have messed up, or if you just really need to have a little bit of mental break, because sometimes you do. It's better to just have the break. First prep, start off stricter if you can. But if you do have like a square of chocolate, it's not the end of the world. I know a lot of competitors freak out about it. Relax. Tell your coach. If you tell your coach, they can fix it, or they can help you fix it. If you don't tell them, that's just going to cause you more stress and more guilt. So be honest with your coach.
Yeah, just be honest. Be transparent with your coach. I mean, they're not miracle workers. They can't work in a vacuum. Nah, sorry. I wish we were. I could have a little fairy dust and go with the sparkles. Would be great. It's only one day that when you get to stage. Prep is its only time. Really, it's only 3 or 4 months. The off season, your growth season lasts a lot longer, and that's when most of the magic happens. So, it's a finite time. You know when it's going to end. And even when it's at its darkest, you still know there's a finite day to it. Again, enjoy. If it's your first prep, enjoy it. If it's your 20th prep, let us know how it's going. If there's anything you've learned along the way, like, what to change, what to improve. But we look forward to what really is kicking off now, the thick end of the competitive season. I know Rachel's up to her eyeballs, judging by what's behind her in bikinis. She's actually starting to look like a sparkle now. But we do appreciate everything that you have brought to the podcast so far. So thank you very much for your attention. Like, subscribe, follow, all that sort of technical stuff that we're supposed to tell you to do. And any ideas for future podcasts, please let us know. We'll do some that are a little bit more fun. We'll do some that are a little bit more serious. And hopefully at some stage in the future, some poor fool might actually come and join us as a guest. You never know. All right. So from myself and Rachel, thank you very much, everybody. We will see you next week on the Macro Lunch Podcast.